I am Dr. Swannie Jett, and I have a passion for public health for over 30 years. Now, I'm in a position to affect change. And these are the critical conversations about health in our community with the people who can help me make those changes. Good afternoon. Welcome to CEO Live Talks. I'm your host, Dr. Swannie Jett, and I welcome Mr. Vincel Anthony to the show once again. You go off to college.
Yep.
You're playing football. Do you have any bumps in the road?
Yeah, you got to define what a bump would be. So, brother, yes. The answer is yes.
A bump
You got to define what a bump is, brother. Yes, sir.
You get knocked
yes,
down.
sir. I had some. Definitely had some bumps. Bro. That's part
athletes,
of it. That's part of it. For sure.
And I wasn't as studious as an athlete because I relied upon sports. So we get into some difficult situations.
Yep.
But not only that,
Yep.
it's a transition from being at home.
The whole facts, yeah.
And then you go to college.
Yep.
And, then it's the life of women.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So walk me through those streets.
I can't walk you to all the streets now.
Well,
I can't walk you down all them lanes.
We don't want to expose. We don't want to expose.
I can't walk you down all the lanes, but I can ease you down a couple of them. College, when you're young, and again, I was doing so well in school and all that stuff that I actually was a grade ahead. So I was supposed to graduate in 86. I ended up graduating in 85. So my senior year of football, I was 16 years old. And so obviously that means my freshman year of college, I was only 17 years old. And what was the funny thing about that, wasn't so funny back then, was I couldn't even go into the girls' dorm because I was a minor. I didn't know that until it came time to go try to check into a young lady's room. It's like, no, you can't. You're in their mind, you're still in high school.
Right.
But little buddy, what are you doing? What are you doing here? But I had a student ID, and I was like, student ID means nothing. You're 17. So I didn't even know I needed to sneak. But since you told me I have to sneak,
Right.
That's what I got to do. But lots of things, man, were being a young person. I always carried myself in a mature kind of way, which allowed me to kind of blend in and fit in with the older crowds anyway, because of being the oldest and that kind of thing, man. But again, I was constantly I was always trying to find myself because I'm a year younger than all of my classmates. I did more observing than I did talking.
Right.
Because I was small for a long time, didn't start growing because again I'm a grade ahead. So I was a little bitty dude going into high school and figuring out a lot of things.
You just convinced me. I'm glad my mom held me back because I was about to go to college at 17.
Oh yeah,
and she was like,
socially
no.
Socially you can if you can handle academically.
I might have been ready because I grew up in Chicago.
Yeah, you Chi-town, yes sir, yes sir.
But the growth didn't happen until later.
Yeah.
Until I was actually 18, 19.
I got you. Yeah, the social side of things is where is a big thing when you have a kid that's young that can be debatable if it makes sense to take a 17-year-old and put him on the campus and all that stuff. But if some can handle it. I remember one of my buddies was a track runner. He's from Africa. I think he was from West Africa. I shouldn't just say the whole continent. I believe he was from Kenya. But he was on a track scholarship, and he was 16 years old. So I was like thinking, wow, I'm young and all. It's like, then I meet this brother. He was really cool, super smart, obviously, but he was 16 years old. So to your point, man, the area where he and I struggled a little bit was the social side of things because you're slightly, 1 or 2 years at that age, at 17, 18, it really makes a big difference.
Now, I would tell you the only difference is, in Chicago, we already had the fake ID. We was in the club.
You're being honest with it, Doc. You're being honest. I appreciate that.
So I don't want no cameras at 16. Like,
I'm good. Don't even worry about it.
Good.
As a matter of fact, I'm 21 if I need to be. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? But things at WKU, man, I met some lifelong friends there as football players. We were definitely a network of comrades on the football field. You know that the 120 some odd folks on the team, you're one big family. The African Americans that were there on campus became one big family
Right.
because you're on a PWI, you're on a predominantly white institution. You're on that campus versus the HBCU experience that you had.
Tennessee State,
I didn't have that, and so what it did was it binded us. We had something that bound us. That was our being of color, and we're still in Kentucky, in a much smaller city than Louisville. Now I'm a couple hours way down in Bowling Green.
And Bowling Green at that time, because I remember, it's different now, but Nashville in '86 is totally different from what it is now.
Absolutely.
In fact, I used to call it Nastyville because when I first arrived in Nashville in '86, I remember getting off the plane and it had a stench, and I didn't understand what the stench was. And then, my ignorance coming from Chicago, there was hay everywhere. And one day I happened to ask the question, and I got the courage to, and I was like, so what are they putting on the hay? And they said, well, that's manure. And I figured out that, that's
what that smell is. Yes, sir. That's what the smell is.
That's what the smell is.
Right.
So I remember opening up Newburgh, my site at Newburgh, 3028 Barstown Road, and they wanted to put hay, and I was like, no.
It's a flashback, Doc.
That was a flashback. A few people say, we're going to have to get some grass.
Yes, sir.
We're not going to put some hay and manure in front of the facility. So, but that was a lesson.
Absolutely.
So I know you're not going to give up all the dirty laundry, but you have a son in college playing football, and receiver at Wisconsin, and you have two of you. You have another one.
Yep.
So you need to advise your sons on what not to do. And
Yes.
every young kid in the U.S. that's going to college now to play sports, what would you tell them?
Well, one thing that I would tell them is that you are always an example. And so, which takes me back to even part of my high school years. There's a couple of big moments that takes me back and gives me pause, which is there are going to be moments in your life as an African American male where you represent all African American males to others. And so when you're young, you're not aware of that. And so the reference point that I'm talking about is my senior year, so was at Male High School, and the class was, I believe, was humanities. Obviously, I'm one of the leaders in the building because I'm a senior and I'm a star on the football team, track, and all this kind of stuff. So, and we it was a fire alarm or something like that we were doing, and instead of me being mature, I was being immature and doing some silly stuff, and other folks were mimicking me. And so the teacher saw me, my humanities teacher saw me, and she made some kind of comment like, I don't know if you're gonna ever reach your full potential or something like that. And she said it under her breath. And so I happened to hear her, and it moved me and it made me think in that moment, like, wow, I am the one that's causing all of this uproar. Folks aren't doing what they're supposed to do during the fire drill. They're chanting some crazy foolishness that I started. It's funny, but she's right. I've really caused a ruckus, you know what I mean? And so instead of her looking at me in that moment and saying, wow, that's a young brother that's going to do something positive, in her mind, she made a judgment call that said, based on what you're doing right now, I don't think you're going to ever reach your full potential. You're going to take your ability to lead people, and you're going to give them advice to do stupid stuff instead of telling them to do something positive. Now, I flipped that. I take that to college. I remember my freshman. So I'm going to go right back to this humanities thing. We had a final that was coming up, and I wanted to prove to her that she was wrong. So it was a big final, and everybody, for the most part, made D's on the F's on the final, whatever. I made an A. I made like a 99% on the test. So what I wanted to prove, so then she pulled me aside and said, wow, Vincel, I never had gotten this much effort out of you. And I never told her why she got that kind of effort out of me on that final. but it was because of the comment that she made. So I wanted her to leave. I wanted to counsel out that ignorant stuff that I'd done in the hallway during the fire drill and give her a brand new impression of me with this final exam. So I take myself to college my freshman year at WKU, English class, and I made I think I made a B minus or something like that, doing just enough. It's English, and I was really dialed into football, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? And I remember meeting with the English, there was an older white lady, meeting with her after the class was over with, and she always did an exit interview. And she said, Vincel, good job with our class, good job in your first semester or whatever here at WKU. You did a great job in my class. And she made the comment she felt comfortable enough to say to me, of all of the African-American football players that I've ever taught, you would be an A student. You're one of the smartest that I've seen that's an athlete in my English class. Now again, I made a B minus. I'm not even paying attention in the class. And so I might even been a C plus. It was something that was an extremely subpar grade for me because I totally was not dialed into the class. It was just, I just wasn't interested. Old white lady, didn't make the class interesting. I just wanted to make a decent grade to keep it pushing. I'm almost sure I probably had a C plus. But that comment that she made alerted me, and it disappointed me, because I'm saying to myself, wow, you don't realize I'm an A student. I could have aced this class. I chose not to. I gave it minimal effort. And you made a judgment call on me and probably all other African-American athletes, football players, in that you felt comfortable enough to divulge that to a 17-year-old. Now it woke me up to say, wow, people really are watching. And I need to be careful how I carry myself. Now, again, I wasn't mature enough to process it. It really didn't register, to be honest, out of school. Thinking back on that, like, wow, she was letting me know a lot of things in that moment, man. And so that's a big message for young brothers. I lean into the African-American male thing because that's a big passion of mine, in that we have a unique story, and it's loaded with landmines. And so for us that make it out, we have to do a good job of letting young brothers know this is what it's going to take to get out of this thing called life, and not lose a leg or lose a limb or take some unnecessary routes.
Hello, my name is Sierra Clark, and I'm the Chronic Disease Manager at Park Duval Community Health Center. Ever since I started at Park Duval over 9 years ago, I have been committed to helping patients live healthier lifestyles. I am currently serving patients in the Chronic Care Management Program, or CCM program. My team and I help patients manage their chronic conditions such as obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. In this CCM program, you will receive several benefits to help you manage your health. We offer monthly telephone calls to check in with your progress and to assist you with any concerns, assistance with scheduling your healthcare appointments, and assistance with filling your prescriptions in a timely and convenient manner. We also offer many resources to help you with the barriers you may face with eating healthy, being physically active, or monitoring your conditions at home. For more information, visit us online at pdchc.org or visit one of our health centers.
I think one of the issues is, as you look at society, and, my kids coming up now, they don't want that pressure.
Right.
I mean, I can bestow the knowledge. I can give them the wisdom. But that might be undue pressure to say, I need you to carry the weight. Now, I alert them as to what their surroundings is. But what do you say to the youth today that don't want that? I'm just growing up in society and everything's different.
Well, you led into it a little bit about in speaking to to my kids. My oldest, Niera's 27, and then there's the two younger ones, the two boys, VJ, who, as you say, is a tight end at Moorhead, and Vinny, who is a wide receiver at the University of Wisconsin. And it's like running a leg on a relay. If Dr. Jett does a good job with running that first leg, and now you're coming to pass the baton to Vincel. I've got to run my leg. I've got to take the baton. Even if I don't want to, I might be intimidated by the guys that are running second leg. If I look and I say, wow, that guy's fast, and he's running against me, and I'm the second leg. I have to do my part and take the baton and say, thanks, Jett, for a good first leg. Let me give everything I can on this second leg and let the chips fall where they may. What I cannot do is say in the middle of the race, no, I'm not taking the baton, because we all lose. The person who was third leg never gets to run their part of the race. Whoever was fourth leg, they never get to run their race. The excellent first leg that you ran, it's all for naught, because I decided to walk off the track because I was intimidated, and I said, like you're saying, a lot of the young brothers are saying today, like, I don't want the baton. I don't want to run. You know, thanks mom, thanks dad, but I don't want it. And the reality is you don't have a choice.
And maybe you have hit the head on the nail. We have to teach them the history of what has occurred.
There it is.
That's allowed you to be even in this position.
That part right there, to even be on the track.
Because, you know, when I was growing up, I started to think my father would have wanted to be in my position.
There you go.
My mother would have wanted to be in my position. And my grandfather and my great-grandfather.
There you go.
So they afforded me to be where I'm at because of everything they went through.
That's right.
And so I need not to take that.
That's right. Absolutely. How dare me not take the baton?
Right.
How dare you do that? Like, what are you talking about? You know, Brother Fred ran a good first leg, and here come, you know, Jett runs a good second leg, and now it's my turn. And if, like you said, if we generationally, we go back, that means great granddaddy did some things maybe he didn't want to do so that he could put his son on his shoulders and say, you know, I may not be able to do X, but man, I need for you to go do the best you can. And now it's my turn. Man, it's like, bro, you have to understand that you have to run your part. But where you were going, a lot of the young brothers and sisters don't know what it took, mom, dad, grandmama, because they don't know that, man, it took a lot to even be on the track, to even be in the race. It took a whole lot to even be eligible for this possibility to be there. So they have a nonchalant attitude. They, you know, I could take it or leave it. When I see here it's my turn, they don't understand that this is mission critical. Right. They think it's no big deal. You know, I have it's okay to say, nah, I don't want to run. It's okay to say, nah, I don't want to take the baton. Let somebody else, they think it's okay, but to your point, I think it's imperative that we let them know, because I think if we do let them know, it was a whole lot of work to get to this moment.
A whole lot of work.
And now the cameras are on you. Don't you dare disappoint mom, dad, or your family members and not do your best. Nobody's asking you to win. We just want your best. You know what I mean?
Hello, I'm Dr. Swannie Jett. Please make sure you visit one of our 5 locations, not only in Louisville, but outside of Louisville and surrounding areas. Thank you. Talk to me about going to training camp. You're a free agent and get drafted, which, you know, a lot of people think get drafted is the greatest thing on earth. But actually, unless you go in the first 3 rounds, it's not the greatest thing on earth. The greatest thing on earth is actually being a free agent. But back in our time frame, it was a 12-round draft.
That's right.
Now it's a 7-round draft. A lot of people don't know that. Right. But being a free agent gives you a choice to pick where you go that has the greatest need. So walk me through that.
Yeah, for me, it boiled down to, it was Denver and Kansas City are were the 2 teams that my free agents that made the most sense for me. As a defensive back, and I did 2 years of college as a running back, and then my junior year, I moved into playing defensive back, but strong safety junior year and free safety my senior year. And that just comes from, you know, as an athlete, you play and do what's going to be best for the team and all that kind of stuff, and just always had that mindset of doing what's best.
Now, you're about 6 feet tall.
Doing always best for doing what's best for the team. You know
you're
what I mean?
about 6 feet tall, so there was not a lot of cornerbacks or free safeties that tall.
No, I mean, I'm back then I'm 5'10" and I weigh and back then I weighed right at 200 pounds. So I was really, really strong. When I came out, I was the second strongest defensive back in the country. I could bench press 410 pounds. Most defensive backs can't do anything near that. I mean, that's
did about 350.
Yeah, that's yeah. You climb up to where the linebackers are once you get to you sliding 845s on that rack and saying, let's get it. So I was, very, very strong on the bench. That was, one of my specialties. And the main thing they test you out in the NFL anyway is how many times can you do 25 and all that type of stuff. I think I did 25 or 26 with 225. So that was really strong for a defensive back, period. But when I went into camp, Steve Atwater and I came there together, and Steve was a big safety from Florida. Now Steve was huge. Steve was 6'3", 230. He was the first really big safety, and I mean big. So again, the unique thing about in the whole NFL experience, which was a shock for me, was that there's not the camaraderie. I mean, everybody's their own little company.
It's a business.
It's a straight business. Everyone's just trying to make the team. The older guys aren't trying to give you tips, because if they give you a bunch of tips, you're going to take their job.
Right.
So it's, you're trying to make that 52-man roster. You got 52 little companies, with 52 different agents in there. So it was really odd for me growing up with, hey, if we have the same jersey and same helmet on, we have the same goal. We just want to win. Well,
that's a big shift from high school to college to pro.
Listen, that don't happen until you make that 52-man roster. Then there's a layer of camaraderie, but you got to make it. So that part was a big time shock for me. For me, it was strictly business. Everybody's not just good, but they're great. Right. I mean, folks aren't fast; they're very fast. Folks aren't strong; they're very strong. I mean, because this is the elite of the elite. You know what I mean? Right. And so. That's what was the amazing thing, was just everything was at a whole nother level. It's like being an academia who goes over and studies in Oxford or at some of the Ivy League schools. You're not going to stick out with your 25, 26 on your ACT. Right. Everybody here has a 29 on the ACT. You know what I mean? It's a room full of them. You take a break at all, you're just going to get left behind. So it was that type of. It was totally different.
You had to be on your game.
Oh my goodness, all the time. Or you were embarrassed. It wasn't just because everything's being recorded, every drill, and so all of that I went through, I passed that down to my sons and kids that I coached once I finished playing as Coach V with a whole bunch of folks here in town. Was the importance of every single play. That's kind of what making it up to that level did to me, was understanding you really can never take a play off. You can't take a drill off, because if you want to ever get to that level of eliteness, everything matters. Mm-hmm. And I mean everything, to the socks you have on, to having your shoes spatted. You remember we used to get spatted back in the day. To how you got your wrist taped, how you looked, your mindset. Everything had a purpose to it. And every drill, nothing was just for whatever. You know what I mean?
You had to come with it.
I mean, period. Every single drill. So that's what it taught me was, it's one thing to be able to swim in a swimming pool, is one analogy I used to use, man. To swim in a swimming pool, the reality is if you can swim in 8 feet, you really can swim in a lake or the ocean, because you can't get to the bottom. Right. If you can swim, you can swim. It's just the fact, just knowing when you're out in the ocean, there is no bottom. It's just like psychologically, I can still swim. I'm good but when I'm in the 8 feet pool, 12-foot pool, there's all these sides around. I can always easily swim if I get tired or fatigued. But again, at the end of the day, swimming is swimming. So that next level, that professional thing, it's like swimming and jumping off into the ocean and swimming. Is it okay? Mm-hmm. You can't take a break. You don't get an opportunity to go take a rest.
You drown.
It's over. You know what I mean?
It's done.
It's a wrap. And so it was like that, and being able to, you had to be on your game at all times, on and off the field, all of that.